Well, howdy, folks. How you going? A little bit dark in here because I'm still moving back into my bedroom. Uh, I took everything I needed for my studio out of my bedroom and put it all into the bus. And while I did arrive home back yesterday, we haven't unpacked the bus yet. So sorry, it's a little bit dark in here. I've got a big TV up here to try and throw a bit of light on, but the only light I've got plugs into a USB thing, and I don't have a USB thing to plug it into at the moment. So my apologies. Thank you to everybody who's reached out and made contact. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's reached out to make sure that things have gone okay heading back to Queensland. We arrived back here yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, in fact, after a very good drive from Port Macquarie. For those of you that are following the fuel figures are pretty exceptional for the flat run that is, well, relatively flat from Port Macquarie back to Brisbane. There's a few little hills, but nothing too much that makes the engine work too hard. So I was hoping to get, if you like, some flat run numbers on it, considering that most of the numbers that I had previous to were over some pretty hilly terrain. I was expecting maybe to get, some even better numbers. Turns out, looks like that's exactly what we've got. Under 27 litres per 100 Ks is where we were at the moment. Haven't actually used the whole tank of fuel. So it's not a bad run for the weight that we're carrying and what we really are. So, yeah, hell of a deal. Got back yesterday, and I have to say, the hydrogen is the success story of the trip. There are a few other deflating bits about it, but the hydrogen is by far the success story of the trip. The savings made in the fuel on using hydrogen is staggering. The extra distance that I get out of the vehicle is staggering. It's not 1 or 2 or 10 kilometers. It's 150, 200, 250 kilometers extra that I'm getting out of a tank of fuel. Currently, we're sitting, I think we figured out a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago, we were at 38% increase across the board in torque, in engine efficiency, and more particularly making power and getting that power to the wheels. In big vehicles, that's, what it's all about, making power and getting it to those wheels. If you're driving tractors or you're driving excavators, it's no different. And I can tell you, this invention of Tim Dwyer's will save you money. If you use a lot of diesel, if you use a lot of petrol, if you do a lot of kilometers, it will save you a phenomenal amount of money. And the other part about this that I particularly love is that it's portable. So if you sell the vehicle that you've originally had it installed into, you can take it out. It's very easy to take out once you've seen it installed. I think if you've got your own mechanical knowledge and a bit of it, you would have no trouble installing it yourself, much less pulling it out. But pulling it out, very easy. And then you get it put back in your new vehicle so that you can expect, the same sorts of impressive figures that you get out of it. So if you are in the market at all for cutting your fuel bills, maybe as much as a third, then get in contact. Tim Dwyer is the man who has put together this amazing system, and he's doing a great deal for Voice of Freedom folks. Now, it is $3,400 to get it fitted. I think we've probably saved that in fuel, which is just as well, because we literally have run out of money in the bank. So I had no idea that we were that close to the end of the bank run. I just I think the universe was just driving me home. I could have kept going, truth be told, quite happily. But as it turns out, I've turned up back at home right when the money's run out. So I couldn't have asked it for better if I was actually looking at the bank account, which I wasn't. So, but anyway, that leaves us in another predicament. That means we now need to go and find a bit more money. We need to go and try and fix this LPG system. The last bill that got paid out of the account was for the fix for the truck in Bacchus Marsh. So when I blew the fuel system up, the LPG system up, Liam from a joint in Ballarat, came out to see if he could repair it and put it all back together. He did, but it was a temporary repair. So I have done just under 10,000 kilometres since I left here in the vehicle. She's performed admirably. You know, I really can't fault her, apart from a few burst tyres, and they were old tyres. So, you know, we're not too worried about that. The awning, well, you know, old straps, old awnings, they let go. Unfortunately, that's, you know, another few $1,000s we're going to have to find to get that repaired. And then, of course, we've got to keep the thing on the road. So it's going to need another service. And I'd like to make sure that we can keep her going as long as is humanly possible. And the only way to keep these sorts of things going is by being a bit mechanically sympathetic to them. So that's going to be the next job. She needs a good bath, and I will endeavour to find a truck wash somewhere in Brisbane where I can take her and give her a good bath. She needs a birthday. Got covered in a lot of crap on the roads, as everybody's vehicles do, but we've also been through some interesting cloud seeding, and there's a fair bit of that covered all over it as well. In fact, I was looking at some of the stuff that's on it today, and I'm going to take a little sample of it too, because I'm 100% sure parts of that is magnetic. So it isn't, it isn't just dirt that's all over the vehicle. So yeah, really, really cool sort of a trip. Lovely to meet everybody, new friends that we've made along the way, and lovely to catch up with the old friends that we made last year when we were down in Melbourne and around Victoria, New South Wales, and the southern portions of Queensland. So thank you to everybody who had me in your house. Thank you for the food. Thank you for the drink. Thank you for the friendship. Thank you for the love and the laughter. The trip, there were times on the trip where I was missing Laura, and I found the fellowship on the road from you people to be so uplifting. It was just changed my life. It changes my life every time I go out there with you, in a really good way. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because without you, none of this would be possible. I still scratch my head at times, wondering exactly what it is that I bring to you. But I've had a lot of people talk to me over this trip, trying to wake me up a little bit to what it is that I do. I'm still not able to talk about it. But I want to acknowledge the fact that I'm trying to, and thank the people who've been trying to help me push through this little barrier of mine. I appreciate everything that's been said from many people, and thank you for feeling the way that you do. If you get something out of my words and out of what I say, that makes me immensely happy. I'm glad that I provide something to you. If you find it balanced, if you find it funny, if you find it just weird to watch me getting angry, or you're just hanging around to watch me get angry, whatever it is that you watch for, thank you. And if you want to see more of it, just let me know. Speaking of more of it, we need to get on with the radio station. I've been working in the background on bits and pieces of it, but I probably have been a bit remiss. I've been caught up with people, and it's been difficult to get as much done as I would have liked. But now that I'm home, that will happen. There are a few things that I have to take care of here this week. Particularly, there is a storage facility that I've got a lot of stuff in up on the Sunshine Coast that want their storage facility back. So I'm going to have to get all my gear out of there and bring it back down to Brisbane at some stage this week, which would be great, except none of it will fit in the bus. So that trailer that I'm trying to sell might come in pretty handy. It's now quite apparent and quite urgent, folks, that we sell the trailer that came with the bus, because we're not actually going to use that trailer on the bus. It's unfortunately not usable from a perspective for me, because I can't put my car on it. So it's useless. But it's a bloody good trailer. Do you want to see it? Let me show you this trailer. You might know someone who wants to buy a trailer. That's the battery. Probably didn't start with the best picture, but it's a big tandem trailer. We call it a toy hauler. It has solar power, and that battery is obviously where the power goes to. It's got a couple of bins up the front that you can put, well, certainly 3 or 4 good dead bodies in each side of that. If you don't want to put dead bodies in there, then maybe you want to put your fridge and your cooking gear and associated other bits, or maybe you're a worker and you want to put some workshop gear in there. It's all powered. There's a couple of 12-volt things you can see up in the top right-hand corner there where you can plug stuff in. And that's pretty much what that side of it looks like when the bin's all closed up. That's a bit of a look at what the trailer's like on its side. So you can see it's a toy hauler. It has ramps that go up to the top. That's where you put your boat. Your boat reverses up on there, and that bar that's at the rear of the trailer that's sitting up in the air looking like a really stupid wing, well, you actually attach your tow bar to that, and that'll hold your trailer in place up on top, and then you back your car in underneath it. Now, the car that you want to put on there, or an ATV or something like that, you really need something thin, a Suzuki or something like that, and something that is shorter than 4 meters in length, because my car's a little over it and it doesn't quite fit on lengthwise. The easiest way, if you're wondering how you open your doors and all that kind of thing, the easiest way is to put your vehicle on backwards, and depending on what sort of a vehicle you have, ATV, that kind of thing, that works out pretty well. Conversely, of course, you don't have to put things up the top like a boat. You can actually put camping gear up there with a small application of a bit of wood. You can put it like a second deck up there and mount whatever the hell you want on there. You can see there's a ton of room. It has 2 spare tyres. The solar is up there at the front and works magnificently well. Oh, it's getting a bit brave again. And that has a workshop bench on the side of it as well. You can see there's another bin to the left of that. That has the inverter in it, and there is a fridge rail in there. So if you want to put a fridge on a rail, the rail's already there for big fridges. So we are desperate to try and sell that trailer. If you know anybody who's looking for a toy hauler, please get them in contact with me, carl@vofhq.com. And boy, have I got a deal for you. We got stuck with the trailer when we bought the bus. We didn't want to buy the trailer, but it was part of the deal. So if you've big into camping, you want a good solid trailer. This is a 3.5 ton solid AF trailer. I mean, it is so well built, amazingly well built. It'll bash around off-road, but it is a beaver tail. So it's got a low deck at the back. You might want to rethink that if you're taking it too far off-road. But as for transporting things, boats, and if you like something to tow that boat with into an area where you couldn't ordinarily get your vehicle, then this is ideal for that kind of thing. If you want to go off-grid living, if you want to travel around Australia and you want to keep a heap of stuff, and you want to keep it secure, then those 2 bins, like I say, fully locked up. There is security. There is, like I say, full solar, and it's a hell of a thing. So if you're in the market for a trailer, we desperately need to see it. And I'll be honest with you, folks, this vehicle will not be going back on the road again until we sell it, because we need to get some repairs done, need to get the LPG looked at, and I've made some inquiries today. Hopefully in the next week, somebody will be able to come and, or I'll take it to them, whichever way that'll work, and they'll have the vehicle for a day or 2 to test if that is the case. They will try and find where all the damage in the LPG system is and if it is repairable. I'm pretty sure everything is repairable with money, but we have none at the moment. So, and I mean that quite literally. I cleaned out the bank account today when I filled up the bus. So, it's going to be a little while before we get going again. I think the temporary repairs that were made by Liam down in Bacchus Marsh are great. They're still working. But those temporary repairs are a valve that he made and a whole heap of duct tape that is holding together my air system. And the air system has lots of holes in it. not just the ones that have duct tape over them. Apparently, there are a few more holes in the system, but as the LPG guys in Melbourne told me, they didn't have the equipment to test it. They were unable to find where those leaks were to give me an idea of how they would go about fixing it or the cost. Because it is an older system, I think there's every chance that we're not going to be able to fix it. It'll probably need a replacement system or a replacement injector system. At least the tanks and the routing are all fine, but it currently has a mixer in it into just off the airbox, and it mixes the gas and the air together and then throws all that into the engine. Well, dickhead blew the shit out of the gas system, so nothing's mixing there. It's all just mixing in open air. So the diaphragm that was in the mixer has been removed to give free airflow, full airflow straight into the engine normally. So we're off to try and get that looked at and get it diagnosed, and then try and get an idea of how much that'll cost. The vehicle's still going, obviously. We can still take it places, and we will, but clearly not until we've got a bit more finance in the bank, or we've got a few more sponsors on board. And that's what I have been working on in the background of this whole trip. I've been talking to people potentially about coming on board and helping us as sponsors going forward on the radio station, on this program, and in a few other things that we've got planned. So there is some hope that there will be a little bit of sponsorship money coming from a couple of businesses that are interested in sharing their products with you, and they are pretty spectacular products, particularly if you're into the caravan camping game. You're a business, you're going to love some of this stuff. But I don't want to talk it up yet because nobody said they're going to do it yet, so we'll just wait. Maybe it won't happen. If you have a business that you want to promote, happy to do it for you. Just get in touch, carl@vofhq.com. We are not charging fortunes for advertising. Our advertising will probably wind up being a little bit different. And there are a couple of opportunities for things that I want to talk to you about. But before I talk to you about them, I want to make sure that they are usable, workable, and, well, not just workable, but they work. One of those things is a patch. If you are a chronic pain sufferer, I want to hear from you. I would like you to be a guinea pig for me, because I will give you a couple of these patches to try and see whether or not they help you at all. Now, if they do, I'll be overjoyed. If they don't, then sadly, I'll be a little bit disappointed, but I will be very honest with you. I have handed out probably 40 patches since I left Adelaide, and I have come across 2 people who've said, no, I didn't really feel any benefit from it. Everybody else has remarked not just, oh, yes, I feel a benefit, but leaps and bounds benefit. Like, there is one very dear friend of mine, a lady named Carol, who eventually I will show you the 3 little pieces that I filmed with Carol. I'd forgotten when I called in to see them that Carol had a very bad back issue 30 odd years ago, and has been walking around in pain for over 30 years. I took the opportunity to try one of these patches on her. I had 4 of them, which Tim had given me to use on me because I was in a bit of pain with neck and shoulders and back and all that sort of stuff. Well, I've used the first one on me, and it cleared my pain in my neck, shoulders, and back. Yes, you are meant to keep using them, but I wanted to see whether or not it would work on a chronic pain sufferer. My pain is, well, painful and a pain in the ass. I wouldn't deem it on the chronic side. It wouldn't be something like Carol's pain that she needs to take opioid medicine to try and get some relief from. Now, Carol's had a story where she had a bulging disc or a burst disc in her back. She's had 4 back operations. She's had 3 hernia operations, or 4 hernia operations, maybe more. and she is a mess. She's covered in scars front and back, and from particularly the hernia surgeries, she has adhesions under her skin. So every time she moves and whatever, she feels pain. Her daily regime was pretty much hobble out of bed, do what she could to try and be mobile around the house for the day, winding up having to go back to bed for a sleep during the day, because at night she really only sleeps maybe 3 to 5 hours per night, broken sleep with pain, usually has to wake up in the middle of the night and take one of these opioid pills to allow her to go back to sleep. So I grabbed one of these patches and put it basically on her C7, on her spine, the top of her spine. She was complaining of shoulder back pain at that time. And I said, right, well, let's just try that. So 2.5 hours later, she said, I have no pain in my back, but I'm still really sore I have no pain in my shoulders, but I'm still really sore in my back. So I said, all right, well, maybe let's move it. So we took it off the top of her neck and put it down just above her bum crack. And there it stayed for about the next 4 hours until she went to the toilet and it fell off and went down the loo, and that was the end of that. However, in that 4 hours, she felt some relief. But here's the tip. The patches are good for one stick. Put them in one place, leave them. Don't go and use them again after that. Keep your used patches, though. Throw them in your dog bed if you have one, if you've got an old dog, and watch what happens. Carol the next day said, well, she called me into her bedroom. We'd put another patch on that night. Or maybe, so I beg your pardon, I've skipped. The next night, we put a patch on overnight. And she called me into the bedroom the next morning. She was sitting up on the bed, happy as Larry, and she was saying that she had got up and had a wee in the middle of the night. Very happy. Got back into bed and then realized that for the first time in 30 years, she'd got out of bed, walked to the toilet, had a pee, got back to the bed, and got back into bed with no pain. And she didn't have to lie down on the bed to roll her legs back into it. Ordinarily, she wouldn't be able to lift her legs to put them back in. So that's the sort of impact that it had on her. And it had that impact on her for days after the patch was taken off. Now, I will play those interview pieces for you. I'll let you see Carol. She, 9:30 the next morning, she called me into the lounge room, where she was dancing and wiggling her hips around and like dancing. And I said, Helen, well, what would you normally have to do to be able to do that? And she said, I'd have to be blind drunk. And then after doing that at a dance for a night, I wouldn't walk for 3 days. And she was walking all right, talking all right, moving all right, and dancing free at 9:30 in the morning, and hadn't had an alcoholic drink, we promise. Made a huge difference to her. And I'm pretty hopeful that it will continue making a huge difference to her. And I hope her husband, John, tries some on his feet. He's got a crush injury to his feet, and I think they'll do a marvelous thing for him. So if you are a chronic pain sufferer, chronic pain, then I'd like to hear from you. I will send you these patches free of charge, and I'll send you a couple of them with instructions on what to do. And then I want you to record a video for me. Before you put them on, explain what your system is like. And then after you've had it on for 12 hours, I want you to record another video. And if there's no change, I want you to tell me there is no change. If there is a change, I want you to be honest. That's all I want you to be. Be honest. Now, as I said, I've handed these things out to, 30, 40 people. I have had 2 say that it didn't really work for them. And I actually picked those 2 people when I gave them the patches. I said to others with me at the time, I guarantee you these patches will not work on these folks. I said that for a variety of reasons. The biggest one being the problems that these 2 people in particular were facing were bone related. And I don't believe, regardless what properties the patch seems to have and what promises it says it can do, nothing, and it certainly doesn't promise that it can fix you overnight. Nothing is going to fix a bone issue in 12 hours, unless maybe it's a med bed. This is not a med bed, but this is advanced medicine. This is stem cell work. This works on rejuvenating and regenerating stem cells. So if you are interested and you want to learn more about it, I can flick you a video to watch as well. If you have animals that are in pain, then there are patches for animals as well, and there are videos that will show you how they work, particularly with a horse. Just a staggering video with a horse. So if you're interested, then get in touch. Carl@vofhq.com. I'm happy to send out some of the patches that I have bought. And I have bought these. These haven't been given to me. I've bought them specifically to give them to you. I want to see if they are the miracle, not fix, but certainly, well, maybe it is a fix. I don't know. If you talk to Tim Dwyer, it is a fix. He has a hip problem, or had a hip problem. He's been on these patches now for about 5 years, I think. And he, before taking the patches or using the patches, he couldn't walk very far at all. Now he can walk as far and as wide as he wants, anytime he wants. It's been known to have some amazing effects on arthritis sufferers. Tim does tell some very interesting real life stories about sufferers of chronic pain, particularly in their hands, knees, elbows, essentially having no pain within 12 hours. Well, no pain within a couple of hours, but to maintain that no pain over a long period of time has been attained. So it's worthwhile just checking it out. Now, I only have a certain amount of patches. I haven't counted them out. In fact, I won't count them out because they're over behind me. But I've got a funny feeling there might be about 30 of them there. I think you need 2 of them. Give yourself 2 days to see whether or not there is any effect on you. I'm doing this basically as an experiment. I want to know whether or not they're effective. There's no point in me bringing a product to you and telling you how great it is and yada, yada, yada if it isn't effective. And I can't claim that it's effective on 100% of the people because I haven't done that much research. I haven't had 100 people to do it on yet. But I'm trying. So if you're part of that, if you have chronic pain, not just the odd headache occasionally, but if you are a daily sufferer of supreme pain, then I want to talk to you. And if you're around where I am, Brisbane, the southeast corner of Queensland, or if you are further up the road or down the road, I would love to come and tell your story. So let's establish first whether or not there is a story to tell. So you can email me, carl@vofhq.com, and I will point you in the direction. All you need to do is really give me an address, and I'll stick these things in an envelope and send them to you with some instructions on where to apply them. I need to know a little bit about where your pain is and what it's being diagnosed as. So if you have neck pain or back pain or hip pain or knee pain or whatever, you've got to give me a bit of an idea of where that is all happening. And because knee pain can often be referred from the lower back and things like that. So at the end of the day, my experience has been it doesn't really matter where you stick this patch. It works. So it works on the whole of the body. So I throw it open to you folks. That is my offer to you. I have bought some of these patches and I want to share them with you. So if you are a chronic pain sufferer, please reach out. I want to see if I can help. And well, it's not me helping, it's the patch. But if I can link you up to something that helps with your pain, that's going to make me really happy because I want to help people. And I've felt for a long time like all I've been doing is taking from you. So I want to give back. And those that are hurting in our community the most, I want to help you first, if I can. No promises, but I can tell you it's worked for me. and it's worked for 38 of the 40 people that I've tried, and not just worked a little bit, like changed their lives with pain. So it's worthwhile having a bit of a look at. All right, there's a couple of things I wanted to tree life. Let me have a look here. Got a major head injury, you can stick it to your head, mate, right between the forehead, right between the eyes up here. Not bad. Or behind the ear is another good place. Fits up well with the clip. Sorry. So just having a bit of a glance just to see if there is anything in here regarding that. Anyway, up to you. If you want to give it a try, I'm very happy to help. And yeah, they're a little patch you can stick anywhere you like. It's just a little white patch about the size of a 20-cent piece. But you'd probably want to stick it where it hurts. If you do have a head injury, I can tell you the place you put it is at the back of the skull. So under your hairline, the back of the skull. Or at the base of your, the top of your neck leading into your skull. And if it's a genuine, ongoing chronic pain, I'd like to see if it could help you, genuinely. I don't know if you're taking the piss or not, but I genuinely would like to see you help if that is the case. All right, I've got a couple of little things here that I can show you tonight. Probably the most concerning one for me is a bit of news that I came across yesterday, I think. So we're all familiar with the carbon capture credit system, aren't we? CCCS, where some bureaucrat tells you how much carbon you're producing, carbon dioxide, then charges you for it, then charges you to capture that and to store it. Now, storing CO2, that's nature's building block, right? Something nature creates all by herself and creates it in such plentiful numbers that we have, everything that grows on the earth. But I know some bureaucrats somewhere decided now that this is a climate threat. So now we do this carbon capture storage bullshit. Have you ever wondered where they store the carbon that they capture? Do you ever wondered what that process is? Because carbon can be a bit elusive. CO2 can be a bit elusive. No, well, what they do is they liquefy it. They liquefy CO2, and then they store that somewhere. Now, hitherto, the places that they have used to store, this carbon have been closed down, run out old gas mines, natural gas mines. They pump it back into the earth. Okay, and they pump it back into the voids left from their mining. Now, that in itself is probably not the greatest thing to have happen, but compared to what they're about to do in Australia, it's the gold standard. Because what they're about to do in Australia is absolutely terrifying. And they are doing it in bloody Queensland, of all places. What a surprise. Why? Because it's run by this cow. And that's exactly what the bitch has done. She's conned you, Queensland. Conned you just beautifully. You ever heard of the Great Artesian Basin? This is the Great Artesian Water Basin. This is the aquifer that flows under our land and essentially provides fresh, clean water to millions of people and obviously a great deal of acreage out there in Western New South Wales, Western Queensland, into South Australia and the bottom end of the Northern Territory. Now, our water aquifer, the Great Artesian Basin, is without doubt the only reason that Australia is not as arid as the Sahara Desert. But what do these fucktards want to do? They are going to inject liquefied carbon or CO2 into the Great Australian Aquifer, into that aquifer. They are going to poison our underground water. That's what that means. It will poison our groundwater. What happens if you poison the groundwater? Everything dies. Nothing grows. And the billions upon billions upon billions of litres of fresh, pure, clean water that gets pumped out all over the country is lost as a resource forever. Queenslanders, but more particularly anybody in any part of this country, you will be affected by this. This cannot be allowed to happen. Now, the scientists are even saying, the industry is even saying, look, we really shouldn't be doing this. The only time we inject this shit back into the earth is into a hole that we've already dug everything we want out of and nobody's ever going back into it again. Well, we haven't got everything we need out of the Great Artesian Basin, and we're not likely to. It's going to feed this nation for, hopefully, ever. But they are going to poison it, and they are doing it, or starting to make noises about doing it in far north Queensland now. All in the name of climate change. What idiocy is this? It has to stop. Write to your local member, folks. Write to anybody in Parliament and tell them about it. I don't know what Malcolm Roberts is doing. Maybe he hasn't come across this story yet. But this is a terrifying story. This could be more detrimental than the Squirty Sharp thing to all of us. It is a serious, serious, serious issue, folks. A serious issue. So please do your own research on it. Start looking into it. But that is the plan. The plan is to start charging everybody, the big corporations, for their carbon use, for capturing that carbon, turning it into liquid. All this is a cost that we are paying, right? Remember that. It's all a cost that we are paying. They're going to turn it into liquid, and then they are going to inject it into the Great Artesian Basin. What scientist thought this was a bright idea? And is the bastard at the CSIRO? You bet your ass he is. Although, very pleased to see that today, one of those pricks that Malcolm Roberts interviewed from the CSIRO during estimates a couple of weeks ago has been sacked. Paluzzo, or whatever his name is, the smug bastard. He's gone. $900,000 a year. Well, not saved, because they'll go and give that to the next stupid bastard who's going to toe the line. But they got rid of that fella anyway. By God, he was just rude and arrogant, and you could tell he wasn't going to tell Roberts anything. He was just blocking, and treating Roberts like a dickhead. Interestingly, he didn't get sacked because of that. He got sacked because he got caught sending text messages that were very uncomplimentary about the parliamentary process, not particular parliamentarians, but the parliamentary process. I think he might have been a bit pissed off about the oversight, people watching and asking him to explain what the fuck he's doing, which he clearly doesn't like to explain, not publicly anyway. Anyway, he's gone. But what golden handshake does he get on his $900,000 a year job? And he's been in the job forever, right? Worked his way up to it, sucked on God knows what to get God knows how high. And he'll be walking out with a golden parachute. You can have absolutely no doubt about it. The public service look after their own. He's a prick, absolute prick. He should be shamed on the streets. If he's audacious enough to walk upon them, people should turn on him and cry shame. Point him out. Filthy, rotten bastards. Now all we got to do is get rid of the prick that's ahead of the CSIRO. He's on $1,049,000 a year. And it's pricks like that that tell us to start injecting carbon dioxide in liquid form into our fucking great artesian basin. Holy shit, folks. I'm fucking speechless. I'm speechless that there would be people in government who would agree with this shit. They can't stay there, folks. They can't keep doing this against the people's will. We have had enough of the two-party system. It doesn't work. Well, it works for them. It keeps them in power. It keeps them rich. It keeps them fucking us. Sick of it. Couldn't be more sick of it. Maybe I'll go for a run. No, maybe I won't go for a run. Because if you go running, this sort of thing can happen. A man went for a run, a long run, a prolonged run, and got a blood clot in the penis. How long has man been running? How long have you known men to run marathons? How old are you? How many Olympics have you watched? How many times have you seen people parade around your local streets on a day a year where they run the local marathon? How many times have you ever heard of a blood clot in the penis? Forget after a run. Just ever. Ever heard of a blood clot in the penis? Got to say something. The PT in Melbourne is going to have a hard time getting me jogging. I'm just saying. Going to have a very hard time. Walking? I'm good with the walking. But look, running could be extremely detrimental. And look, I'll be honest, I haven't got much use for the penis at the moment other than to piss from. But still, I'm attached and I wouldn't like to see anything happen. Blood clot. Not good for your health. Not good for your health at all. Running. Don't go running. Particularly if you've had the squirty sharp thing. You want to be very careful about that. The lies that they are telling us, folks, there are just, it's non-stop. The media, the mainstream media are so complicit or so fucking stupid, which is probably more the case. Those fools that call themselves working in the media are not journalists. They are programmed numpties, bots, if you like, that have been programmed not to ask questions, that have just been programmed to run a news story to a formula. And that's how every story is told. Don't go and have any, smart ideas yourself. Don't go start investigating things by yourself. Oh, no, we don't do anything like that. No. Mainstream media, waste of time. And all they're going to do is try and tell you that putting carbon dioxide in liquid form into the Great Artesian Basin won't hurt anything. Won't hurt anything. My God, folks. Would it hurt the Great Artesian Basin if all of a sudden sewage trucks started pulling up to a hole and dumping sewage into it? I know there's billions of litres down there. It'll water it all down. Would that be okay? So I don't think we need to work hard on that, folks. We cannot let them poison the Great Artesian Basin. We cannot. Those that would propose to do this should be hung by their neck until dead over the hole they were planning on putting this poison into. It's not poison. It's a building block of life. But if you put it into our Great Australian Artesian Basin, it'll be bloody poison. We can't do it. We just can't have it. So what are we going to do about it? Is the political system going to fix this, is it, do you think? Is Ricardo's crew going to fix this? Is Malcolm Roberts' crew going to fix this? We sure as hell know the Labor Party and the Liberal Party aren't going to fix this. I have no faith in any other party that says it can fix this. I think only the people can fix this. Are you one of the people that can help fix this? How are we going to do it? No point in picking up the pitchforks. They'll just shoot us where we stand. How are we going to do it? We need to be smarter. Done a lot of thinking while I've been driving. Had a couple of really weird ideas. But maybe one of them might work. Maybe not. They are ideas simply to be discussed, to bring us together, to unite. And once we have the one idea, the one plan to unite behind, we will be unstoppable, folks. And it will just happen. It won't be a war. It won't be a fight. There won't be bloodshed. It'll just happen. We cannot have people in power in this country who do nothing for the people of this country. They work purely for overseas interests. That which we call a government in this country is an occupying force, an occupying corporation that has us believing they're the government. It's all true. So how do you get your neighbour to believe that? Because I know you do. How do you get your neighbour who doesn't believe that to believe that? What evidence have you got to show them? Have you got the paperwork that shows that that is the case? It's freely available. You can find it just about anywhere, except on the Voice of Freedom site. So maybe we should change that and put it on the Voice of Freedom site. Make yourself aware of it, folks. Be very aware of the other stuff they're not trying to tell you, the stuff that isn't in the news. And a lot of that you're not hearing anywhere else but maybe Telegram or a few of those other non-normal media channels. Have you heard about the rat plague in Kurumba? Now, it happened about a week ago, but I only saw some vision of it today. Absolutely staggering. Now, Kurumba is up in the Gulf area of Australia in Northern Territory, or far north Queensland. And some of the biggest prawn trawlers you've ever seen in your life operate out of there. And there's over 1 million dead rats just lying at the water's edge. And apparently 10 k's out of town, there's another pile of them, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them. Nobody knows what killed them. Nobody knows how they got there. I was talking about this with someone today. It sounds like there may have been some sort of aerial baiting going on with so many rats discovered at the water's edge. There is a bait that you can put out for rats that dehydrates them. Apparently, well, I don't know the ins and outs of how it works, but it dehydrates them, and they will go to water and try and drink any kind of water. And I guess if they've gone to water and they've found salt water, then that wouldn't have helped them either, but they would be incapable of not drinking it. And there are millions of dead rats lying along the banks of Kurumba and more 10 k's out of town. Why? I mean, nice that the rat plague's gone, but wow, there's a fair bit going on there. Judith, you've sent me a chat through on Facebook. Okay, Judith. So I'm going to reply to your little message with my email address. Just email me your address, and I'll send you a couple there. Yes, if you would please try and film yourself before you take a patch, and then film again afterwards. So if you are feeling any different, you can tell me. I'm really looking for your natural reaction. And if you feel nothing, I want you to tell me that too. That's entirely what it's all about. So, I see you've sent me your address, Judith. I've just got down to the bottom of your message. No worries. I'll write that down and I'll get them off to you tomorrow. So yeah, we'll happily send out a couple of patches to people. If you are in pain, please get in contact with me, carl@vofhq.com. Chronic pain sufferers only, please. I mean, it'll work for you if you've got a headache, but so will Nurofen. If you have continual headaches, then I'm interested in talking to you. So yeah, chronic pain sufferers only. If you have to take high potency pain killing medication, opioids, that kind of thing. Very keen to see if this can help you. And Carol had a desire to get off those opioids. She wanted to be off them. She hated the way it made her feel. She was trying to wean herself off them. And I've got to tell you, it's probably another story for another night, but I was there when she went to a doctor. I didn't go with her to the doctor, but she went to a doctor's appointment where she made it quite clear that she'd been weaning herself off these dosages that they'd had her on. And for anybody who's familiar with this sort of medication, you can't just drop it cold turkey. It does all sorts of awful shit to you. So you do have to wean yourself down. So she was down to about half the normal medication, or half the dose that she was normally prescribed. And she had moved off quick release to slow release tablets. She went in and explained to the doctor that that's what she wanted to keep doing. She needed to get, her script redone. He sent her away with exactly the opposite of what she asked for. Full strength, fast reacting, just didn't listen to one friggin' word she said. But by God, he listened the next day when she made the discovery at the chemist that that's what they were going to give her. And she rang him the next day. I had a bit of a chat too. But that's a very big problem. If you've got a doctor who listens to your requests and then by accident or otherwise writes out the old prescription with the full dose medication on the fast acting pills and all that sort of shit, doesn't listen to a word you've said or what you've been trying to do, and hope you didn't read what they wrote down on there and slip the prescription into the chemist, and hope you don't read what's written on the label. Well, Carol did. And, old mate changed things very quickly and was very, 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 very apologetic. You see, this is a thing a doctor can lose his license over, all right? And probably should, unlike the people who've lost their licenses because of those pricks in APRA playing God. Was this doctor an Australian trained doctor? No, he wasn't. In fact, in regional areas, there are very few Australian trained doctors. Do you know how the immigration system works? If you claim that you're a doctor from overseas and you provide a bit of paperwork, then you might be allowed to come in under a doctor's visa to work in this country. But if you come in under any other visa, you won't be allowed to work as a doctor. You'll have to go off and scrub toilets or wash windows because your quality of training is not recognised by the bureaucrat stamping your paperwork. That leaves us with a great many immigrant doctors working in country areas, and I'm not having a go at them. Some of them are probably great, but this one, and I can name 4 or 5 others just from this last trip. They all are the same nationality. All the doctors that have been making these little screw-ups are the same nationality. I'm wondering whether or not I should mention the nationality. But they have a really great... No, I'm not going to say that. All the same nationality. I don't know that means much other than the quality of training, or the quality of care, or maybe just the quality of listening. I don't know. But it's interesting that they all are the same nationality. So agate masters onto it. It's a bit of a concern. And now this doctor was terrified that Carol was going to go off and make a complaint. Terrified. Because not only... I guess if you're in that situation, working on one of those visas, if you were to gain a couple of complaints against you or a few complaints against you, could be a problem. This doctor already has, or certainly, I'm not sure if it was that doctor or another one from the surgery, already has a number of complaints against him, including a sexual harassment claim. One of the doctors has been stalking the daughter of one of his patients online, quite openly. refuses all offers to cease and desist. And it's quite weird. Now, I can't help but wonder why APRA aren't interested in him. No, because Billy Babe probably walked outside and said something today, and, oh, God, we've got to clamp down on him. Or there was another doctor who told some truth, and we have to stop them doing it. Instead, we've got a whole bunch of ring-in doctors who have dubious bedside manners, shall we say. I have a personal bedside manner story that I won't tell you because I cannot control myself when I think about it. But it has to do with my daughter, Laura, and her needing an emergency appendectomy a few years ago. The only thing that's kept me out of jail is I wasn't at the hospital when what happened. But that doctor has since been removed, not just from the hospital, but from the country. But they're here. And they treat life and people very differently. And whether that's the culture they come from or the arrogance they have, I don't know. But it's not going to work here. And I know people are very scared about going to these imported doctors. But in country areas, you have no choice. There is no one else to go and see. This is where they go and put them. Oh, yeah, you can go and do your time out there, doing bulk billing in little towns and cities across the outback. And that's great. We need doctors out there. But why aren't we teaching our own doctors? And why aren't they going out there? Oh, that's right, because they can't make $600,000 a year working out of a tiny community. Well, they probably can, but they'd have to work really hard. Why would you want to do that? You want to be able to go off and use your pings or go skiing or that overseas trip and, all that sort of stuff. No, much better to work in a hospital, be anonymous in that hospital and take the money and run. So we need to fix that. We need to have more of our people wanting to help our people. Yes, okay. If you're living out bush somewhere, it might not be possible for you to go and see every concert that comes to your local capital city from a big artist. But you will be able to afford to go and see them if you want. And if you want to go and drive that far to go and see them, then you can. What's more important, the concert tickets or helping a community? So I don't know if you've got any kids who are doing medicine at the moment. Have you discussed with them where they'd like to end up? I'm sure they all want to be specialists and surgeons and brain doctors and, all that sort of stuff. But what are they actually doing? So I think our universities have a lot to answer for. Although I was told today, someone quite close to me is working with the universities to re-energize their education system, rewriting the syllabus, in fact, so that they are putting out more caring nurses and nurses who know what to do rather than nurses that know how to feel. Does that make sense? I hope so. Yeah, Sunflower, I bet. Oops, you jumped. There you go. I bet. I think a lot of the doctors, once they get in, well, they certainly know the truth of it after a while. If they don't know it immediately, it's not too far. Yeah, Daryl, you are right. We will all be dead in the end, so we don't have to worry too much about that, I don't suppose. Yeah. Joe, what's this? We need Medicare to send out quarter-term statements to citizens so the card numbers are not misused. That is a very good idea, Joe. A very good idea, because there is. I knew a bloke some years ago now. Let's say he was a colourful character, okay? A very, very colourful character. He invited me to join him in opening a doctor's surgery. I didn't have any money to help open a doctor's surgery, so I missed out. He wasn't a doctor. He just had money enough to open a surgery. So that's what he did. Opens a surgery, outfits it, and then advertises for doctors. I won't go into how he ripped off the bulk billing system, but the system could be rorted. And he rorted it. He and others, lots of others. You might remember doctors went from a time of being employed in surgeries to buying them. There is a reason for that. I'm not sure if the loophole has been completely changed these days, but I'm sure that if they closed one loophole, another in Medicare opened up. And nowadays, if you can find a bulk billing doctor, good luck to you. I heard a report on the radio the other day that it was going to be up to the local doctors in the surgeries to decide if they were going to bulk bill you or to charge you the bulk billing fee plus whatever their loading on top is, which is, probably that fee or more again. Now they're going to make that decision in their practices. You know how that's going to work out, don't you? How much do we need for the rent this week? How much do we need for wages? How much do we need to play golf at the club? How much fuel do I want to put in the boat this weekend? How many kids am I going to take overseas this year? How many stars does the hotel we're going to stay in have? That's the kind of thing we need to try and stop. We need to try and think more about others and less about ourselves and our bottom line, our material gain. We need to think about others. And that's the only way we're going to level up, folks. I don't care about aliens and frequencies and all that sort of stuff. It starts here. It starts in your head. If you cannot level up in your head, you will not level up anywhere else. So be kind to everyone. And I know that's hard because I struggle at times, but we can do better. And in part, that's what I want to try and do with these patches. If I can help you, then that makes me feel great. I'm not asking you to keep buying them. That's up to you. If you want to buy them because they work for you, then great. If they don't. I'm desperate to try and help people, though, who are in chronic pain. And I know how debilitating that is. I had a friend who, God, all these stories I tell you I should never tell. I had a friend who killed himself because of pain, some long time ago now. But he was in chronic pain from a neck injury that he had sustained at work. And that neck injury translated to his entire spine, legs, arms, everything hurt. He eventually couldn't put up with it anymore and ended his life, sadly. Doctors were unable to help him unless they, stuck him on opioids that had him as a zombie for 23 hours a day, essentially. He couldn't eat, could barely talk, just dribble. But he wasn't in any pain, but no life. Absolutely no life. Whenever I think about people in pain, his face comes to me. So if I can help you, if you're in chronic pain, and if I can link you up with these things, then, and they work for you, then my job here is done. I just want to know that they work for you and that you're happy, and that they can make a difference in your life. So if you want to learn more about it, email me, carl@vofhq.com. Would love to have you. And I'll send you videos and information, and I'll send you a couple of patches so that you can try them out for yourself. There's no promises with any of this. Like I say, I've put them on a lot of people. A couple of people have said nothing. Didn't feel any effect. And unfortunately, I didn't have more patches to give them to wear over a longer period of time so that they may have been able to feel an effect, because what they were talking about were bone-related issues, and I think that probably takes a bit longer than 12 hours to make a dent in. But what do I know? I just know it worked for me, and I know it's worked for Carol and a few others. So if you think it could work for you, then please get in touch, and we would love to help. Absolutely love to help you. I don't think I've got too much more for you tonight, folks, other than to say if you're not a member, please become a member. VoFHQ.com. There is a membership tag there, and next year we are hopefully going to be launching a few new competitions, hopefully one a month, that will keep you entertained, and it'll only be members that will have the ability to gain access to the prizes. So you can join from as little as $1.25 a week, and or you can choose to donate whatever you'd like. If you don't want to be a member, you can just donate. There is a donate button. Look, if you could donate a new LPG gas system for the engine, that'd be great. But if you've got $20 you could throw our way, that might help us afford one. That gas system is going to be a killer. We're not covered by insurance for it. I found that out today. We are, I think, covered for insurance for the awning, though. So had a bit of a win. Still got to figure that out completely, but I'm pretty confident we're going to have a win with that. So yes, if you'd like to help us get back on the road, get the bus serviced, and hit the road. I know Di and Harvey Bay is keen for us to come up there for a trip. Well, Harvey Bay, I think, is about 4 hours, maybe 4.5 on the bus from where I am. We would love to come up for a weekend and check it out. Laura will come for the drive. She hasn't been in it yet, so she's a bit keen to come out for a weekend. With her job, of course, it's a bit more difficult. She can't come out during the week, but we'll come out and spend a weekend in Harvey Bay. Come and see the folks up there. The stand in the park on Sundays is always well attended. A magnificent group of people up there. And Michelle, if we're coming to Harvey Bay, then bugger it, we're coming to Childers as well. So we'll organise something for that. Hopefully, well, I don't think there's much point before Christmas, but if you want me to come up before Christmas, we can. If you're keen, we'll organise it. But just get in touch. Easy to do. But I'm very keen to come and check out Michelle's farm. She grows all this magnificent produce. She brought me a whole heap of it last time I was in Harvey Bay, and brought it home here. It was devoured within a day. Just really nice stuff. So if you're looking for fresh fruit and veggies, remember, of course, My Place doing deals with farmers, and Your My Place can get produce direct from the farm. So mostly, well, I'm not going to say mostly, but it's working very well in Victoria at the moment. They occasionally get runs out of the Mildura area that's got full of oranges and stone fruit and all that sort of stuff. And of course, there is opportunities for that here in Queensland as well. We've got plenty of fruit, plenty of veggies being grown just in the southeast corner. And if you like your avocados, I know a man with a tree. So all that is being built for you, folks, but you have to be part of it. Go and join a My Place near you. And if there isn't a My Place near you, start one. Go to myplaceaustralia.org and begin the journey. That's all I can say. All right, folks, I'm going to love you and leave you tonight. How long have I been going? For somebody who wasn't going to talk very long tonight, I've managed to talk for 1 hour and 10 minutes again. Sorry about that. All right. Have yourself a bloody good night, folks. Thank you again for everybody who's reached out to find out that I got home okay. It was a hell of a journey. Quite an adventure. Learned a lot of things. Learned I've probably got half of the stuff inside that bus I don't need, because I've never taken it out of where I put it the day I put it in there. Yeah, it's been a great learning experience. Road manners in big vehicles. Just negotiating that vehicle into tight little areas and places to go and see folks. It's been a very large learning circle, learning curve, not a learning circle. And I couldn't have done it without the help of many of you and the advice of many of you. So thank you very much. I've got a lot to learn about the caravan camping side of the world. I mean, a lot to learn. One day, not tonight, but one day, when I'm not going to suffer another mental schism from it, I will tell you the story of, I don't know that I will. I'm not going to be definitive. One day I might tell you the story of the first and second time I tried emptying the dump tanks, meaning the black water and the grey water, out of that vehicle. I might tell you that story.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!